Seto Kaiba, this man threw the entire Battle City tournament on his own money just to prove that he was the best duelist, and didn't even make it to the finals. Hello everybody, and welcome back to more of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dynasty series deck profiles. It's me, Cooper, and today we're going to be talking about Seto Kaiba. This man is the guy who threw the entire Battle City tournament because Shizu convinced him, but whatever. This tournament was to decide who was the greatest duelist of all because he truly believed he was. And with his new ace monster, he totally could have been. The card that Shizu gave him, Obelisk the Tormentor, a 4,000 attack point, 4,000 defense point Egyptian god card that when there's two monsters on the field, you could tribute them and then destroy all monsters on your opponent's side of the field. It's a freaking beast of a monster. Plus, I don't believe this card can be targeted by any of your opponent's effects. It's really freaking nice. It's probably the best god card in terms of abilities. Of course, Raw could be stronger, but Obelisk the Tormentor was definitely the most solid. So, moving in to Seto Kaiba's rare cards. He definitely got some new rare cards for this season. And his new rare cards are the Ring of Destruction and the Enemy Controller. These two cards, in my opinion, are the most interesting new cards he has to offer. He still has a lot of his old busted cards from the last season that got him 4th place. He did get 4th place in freaking Duel's Kingdom. Ring of Destruction, what it does is that during your opponent's turn, yes, we have the nerf version, target one face-up monster your opponent controls whose attack is less than or equal to their life points, and then destroy that face-up card. And if you do, both players take the original attack points as damage. It is super freaking useful. This card is a game changer and used to be one of the most busted cards in the game before they eroded it, because it used to just say destroy a monster face-up on the field at any time, and then that monster would take, you both players take the damage equal to that monster's attack. Not even original attack, just attack. It's literally, it used to be god tier. Now it's just whatever. But in this tournament, it's super good still. This is still a super good effect. Plus, he has his Enemy Controller, which has 2 effects. It is a quick play spell, so you usually want to use this on your opponent's turn. You don't have to. But what it could do is you could target one face-up a monster your opponent controls and change its battle position. So if you're having trouble with a tank monster like a Metal Reflect Slime, you could put it into attack mode. Or if you're having trouble with a strong attack point monster that is just beating your team, you could put that into defense mode, for attack mode to defense mode. It's very helpful. It can do both those things. And its second effect is you could tribute one monster on the field, on your side of the field, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and you get to take control of it until the end of the turn. Which means, yes, you could tribute that monster for a tribute summon. Yes, you can attack your opponent with that monster. It is a very, very good card, and since it's a quick play spell, it comes in handy all the time. His other busted cards we will get into when we go through his stats, which the first stat we need to talk about is Seto Kaiba's attack stat, and it is maxed out. This man has amazing cards. Now, I'm only going to show a list. Look, we already know about the Blue Eyes. He's got triple Blue Eyes. That already blows up his average. Oh, he's got freaking Obelisk the Tormentor. That blows up his average. But let's talk about the cards that made it so his attack stat is above and beyond. The cards that do that are Vorse Raider, Lejin, X-Head Cannon, and Blade Knight. These 4 monsters are what do the job. Vorse Raider is a vanilla 1900 beater, which is very rare, and he has multiple copies of it. Lejin is his old school 1800 beater, which is still above the average. And the X-Head Cannon, he has multiple copies, by the way. It has an 1800 vanilla beater that actually has other things it can do in this series. As you all probably know. He also has his Blade Knight, which is a 16 beater, which falls below the average, but if you only have 1 card or less in your hand, it has 2,000 attack points, which is god tier. Now, the reason his attack stat is maxed out isn't just because of these cards, because we've seen characters that have a 2,000 attack point monster. We have Unfriendly Amazon in the series, we got Giant Rex in the series, we got Goblin Attack Force, which goes above that, but it has a bad effect. We have Panther Warrior, which, you know, it works. It still has a bad effect, but it works. The reason his is maxed out is because all of his best attackers are vanillas. There's no downside to them. His tribute monsters are literally Opus Tormentor and Blue Eyes. That's amazing. And because of his fusion monsters. His fusion monsters are the twin-headed Thunder Dragon, which, yes, that means he runs 3 Thunder Dragons. His fusion monsters are the XYZ Dragon Cannon, the XZ Tank Cannon, the XY Dragon Cannon, and the YZ Tank Dragon. All of these cards buffed his attack stat to perfection, because not only does he have these, but he has the ultimate monster, the strongest card, stronger than the gods, in this tournament. The Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. That is right. He has his Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This is not his ace monster. I put Obelisk because Obelisk is way cooler, but this is the strongest card in the tournament. Obviously, Raw has the potential to become stronger, but ignore that. It's not a guarantee. Blue Eyes Ultimate is guaranteed the strongest, and that's freaking amazing. So getting on to Seto Kaiba's defense stat. It is average. Now, normally I would be like, oh, come on, Cooper, this guy's attack stat is all that matters. No, I'm just averaging out the defense stats, and, you know, he does have some defensive traps to help him. Enemy Controller could be counted as one of them. But overall, his monster's defenses are terrible. Vorce Raider's 1,200, Legion's 1,000. Thunder Dragon's a level 5, and they only have 1,500. Terrible. Bloody Knight's 1,000. The cards that actually have decent defense in his deck are just White Dragonhead. That's it. White Dragonhead is the only one with above average defense that's not a tribute monster. That's it. It's super hard to get through. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. That's the only one. And the only reason his overall average hits the average rather than going below average, Blue Eyes kind of messed that up, having 2,500 defense and him having 3 of those. Obelisk kind of messed that up, having 4,000 defense and him having 1 of those. His fusions have a lot of defense, so that kind of messed up the average as well. And because he still has his Shadow Spell trap card, he has his Negate Attack trap card, he has his Ring of Destruction and his Enemy Controller. Those will help him out immensely. So, ignoring those, let's move on to his speed stat, and that is where he has improved. Seto Kaiba's speed stat is above and beyond now. It is actually above the average, which is super freaking nice. Now, why is it above the average? He still has his old school Legion combo. He still has his Lord of D combo from the olden days. Let's ignore those. He has Thunder Dragon for searching. That's new. He does have Thunder Dragon. He has more fusions now. That's new. He has Union monsters now, which every time they attach and detach, that's a special summon. It's impressive. It's very good. Including the fusions that he can make, XYZ Dragon Cannon, XZ Tank Cannon. All of these do not require polymerization, so they're not even that bad to make. His speed stat is there, and polymerization is part of his fusion stat, so there you go. Part of his speed stat. There you go. It's right there. Other than that, he has one brand new card I need to talk about that he showed off in the movie that I have given to him. And this is the only card that works with his current Crush Card virus. It is Piton the Dark Clown, one of the best clowns in existence, and I'm the clown master, so you should know that I know my stuff. Now, Piton the Dark Clown, what it does is when this card is sent to the graveyard, doesn't matter how, you could banish this card and then special summon one more Piton the Dark Clown from your hand or deck. In other words, you're always going to have a clown. You don't have to worry unless they remove it from play, which is still a very rare thing. Removing cards from play is still very rare. He also, on top of Piton, has one new spell card, which is busted. It is the Card of Demise. With this card, you could draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. So what it means is, like, if you're starting to freaking run out of cards in your hand and you top deck this card, it lets you draw 3 new cards. But you're not allowed to do any damage until the end of the turn. And, you must throw away every card in your hand at the end of the turn. But if you drew a bunch of spells and traps, you could set them. And if you drew a monster, you could summon it. So basically, Card of Demise is just super busted. It's a pot of greed times 3 if you're top decking. And if you're not top decking, you could still fill up your hand with a few things. It's really freaking helpful. So let's go ahead and move on to the brand new stat, the skill stat. And for Kaiba, he falls below the average, yeah. So the only skill cards this man has are, of course, his Ring of Destruction and his new card, the Ring of Defense. And what this does is that when a trap effect activates that does damage, effect damage by the way, this card makes that damage 0. In other words, if you activate Ring of Destruction, you can chain Ring of Defense to stop yourself from taking any damage. If your opponent has any trap cards that make you take damage, guess what? You can actually stop them from making you take damage. In other words, he can actually save himself from a magic cylinder. That's it though, because it has to be trap cards specifically. Those are where his skill comes in, is those cards. His other skill stat stuff, I'm looking at his entire deck right now. I'm not seeing much. I guess being able to take your opponent's monster can be considered skillful, so enemy controller can do something. Not really about stall. Yeah, this guy, I guess negate attack gives him one little turn, buys him one turn. Overall, though, he's not about doing any burn damage. It's just Ring of Destruction and Ring of Defense to prevent burn damage. So yeah, this is why his skill stat fell below the average. Now, obviously, he still has a lot of good cards that can help him out. He does have the negate attack. He does have the shadow spell. That stuff will help. And he has enemy controller, but it doesn't really matter. Overall, his skill stat is just kind of ass. Doesn't matter, he's the strongest guy in the tournament when it comes to attack, so we need skill. Let's move on to the brick stat, and the brick stat for Seto Kaiba is pretty bricky. Now, I know what you're thinking. Cooper, I thought you said people don't really brick in Battle City. He's one of the ones that do. Now, the things that are bricking him up, triple Blue Eyes, triple Thunder Dragon, Obelisk the Tormentor. That is what's bricking him up. He has 3 Blue Eyes, 3 Thunder Dragons, and an Obelisk. Now, Thunder Dragons, they do let you search through the deck, but then they're just trapped in your hand. Okay? They're just sitting there. You can't even card demise because of these bastards. They're just stuck there until you draw a Polymerization, or for heaven forbid you tribute summon them. Or they can be used for his cost down card. He does have the card cost down where you discard 1 card, then you can lower the level of 2 monsters of every card in your hand. All monsters in your hand lose 2 levels basically, which makes it easier to summon stuff. So they can be used for cost down as well, but it's still a bricky card. Other bricky cards he runs are Polymerization, obviously. So Polymerization definitely bricks up his hand. Crush Card Virus is also a bricky card because he must have a Pedon. Luckily, he has 3 Pedons, and they all search each other, but he must have a Pedon and Crush Card at the same time. So that's a bricky card. Ring of Defense is a bricky card. This card is not helpful 99% of the time, unless you get both Ring of Defense and Destruction at the same time, which is like asking yourself to get both Ritual Monster and Ritual Spell at the same time. No, it's bricking up your hand. Ring of Defense will not come in handy most of the time. He also has the brick card, the Flute of Summoning Dragon. He's still used in Battle City. That is bricking up his hand as well. So, overall, his brick stat kind of hurts him quite a bit, but his skill stats kind of meh. But his other stats are just so amazing that I don't think it matters, because we're going to show his potential, which is a solid 4 stars. It would take an extremely skillful character to take out Seto Kaiba. Honestly, I don't think you can beat Kaiba in attack. I don't think you can. The only way you're going to beat Kaiba is by tanking him and then finding another way to victory, whether it be stall, burn, win condition, or something like that. Like, basically, you have to have some other form of victory, because you're not going to beat this man by battle. He runs Soul Exchange, for crying out loud. He will tribute your monster. If you try to summon a stronger monster than him, he will tribute it, and he will summon a crappy Thunder Dragon if he has to. What matters is that he tributes your monster. So yeah, he has enemy control, he has Soul Exchange, he has way too many options to stop people from beating him by battle. He has Ring of Destruction, Crush Card Virus, just way too many options. The only way you're beating Kaiba is if you go around him. You gotta win through burn, you gotta win through stall, you gotta win through a win condition card. And I think that, like we only said, Bakor is the only one that has one, so he would, not only would he have to fight Bakor, but he'd have to get matched up with Bakor, and that would be freaking unlucky. And even then, he probably would still just beat up Bakor before he could pull off any of his strategies. So, I don't know, guys. I think Seto Kaiba is going to be pretty unstoppable in this tournament. It would take some pretty tactical bastards to take him down. That's going to be it, though. I want to thank you all for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.